Alright guys, welcome back to the Zero Takes channel. Today, I'm going to be doing my 2026-2027 Chelsea keep, loan, sell squad review prediction, all wrapped into one. I'm going to be doing this based off kind of my gut feelings as well as, what I think Alonso's going to do with the squad and how he's going to play. So if I have like some conflicting ideas on players, it's because I'm a little torn between what formation and what style of play he's gonna implement at Chelsea. Probably be a future video on that coming soon. But let's just get started by starting with the keepers. And we have to keep Penders. We have to play him at some point this season. It's going to be tough to find minutes for him since we have no European football. We just got FA Cup, Carabao Cup, and the Premier League to focus on, and all we can really play. So it's going to be hard to kind of find those minutes for a young keeper, but with how good he's supposed to be, he needs to find minutes, and hopefully, this is like the biggest question, one of the biggest, I think in my opinion, probably the biggest that Chelsea are going to face under Alonso is this keeper position, especially how the season and how little games we play is going to fill out. So this keeper position is going to be really tough. We have to hope that Penders, finds his footing and, gets minutes, because I kind of want to sell Sanchez. Keep Penders because he's, you know, such a good talent. And Sanchez, he's had his moments. He's had great games. He's had horrible games. He's, it's hard to trust him. He has built a little confidence from this season compared to last season, or I should say 2 seasons ago compared to last season. But for me, he doesn't play how Alonso is going to want his keeper to play. I don't trust Sanchez on the ball, like, at all. For me, his distribution is not good enough in Alonso's system, and I really think it's going to be a weak point if we keep Sanchez. And I just think, he's had his moments. I think it's just time to, sell him on, get some money, and focus on getting another keeper. With that being said, we have to sell Jorgensen too. Just no minutes for him, and hasn't shown anything. Same with Slolina, however you want to say it. Not the greatest pronunciation on my side, I'm sorry. But, I mean, he's had his opportunities, or, lack thereof, but hasn't really shown anything. And then that's all I can really say. I think that experiment's just over for that, unfortunately. I will say there is a shit ton of players here. I'm not going to be going over all of them, like, younger squad players. If I do find some that, might sneak into actually playing territory, or maybe loan candidates that I see, I will include them. But, for like fifth and sixth choice keepers, I'm just going to leave them down here. No need to really talk. But what Chelsea needs to do in the summer, might see a transfer, Chelsea transfer predictions or targets from me video coming soon, but they need to sign a keeper who is older, who's trustworthy, who can have good distribution, reliable, but will be okay with not always being the number one, who will be okay with like kind of mentoring Penders in a way. And I just don't see Sanchez as that guy at Chelsea. I think Sanchez still wants to kind of like prove something, or, he wants to be that first choice keeper, and I don't think he's first choice keeper level for Chelsea, but can be somewhere else. So I think it's our best bet to just kind of sell on, get 2 keepers in the window. I know we kind of have to, play it safe with the money. I'm looking at like an older keeper. I don't really have a name yet. I haven't done enough research on some of the available keepers that we can get in that, lower price range, but still reliable, a little more than Sanchez, better distribution. We need to sign one of those, and then we just need a standard third choice keeper that, we're not taking minutes away. Like, we can't have another Slolina there. We can't have a young guy who's just going to sit and waste his career. We got to get an old third choice, stable, stereotypical third choice keeper. But let's move on from there. Talk about the center backs. Have to keep Colwill. That's just a staple. He's a cornerstone of the defense. So good. There's no doubt about that. This stretch of players, though, these next 6 names, so hard to kind of, talk about with what we want to do or what we should do with these players. I think the easiest would be go through my immediate first 2 sells. Have to sell Disassi. He's just gone. He's not wanted at the club. It's fine. sell him off. And I think we have to sell Badiashile just because I think comparing Badiashile to Tosin, very similar. I think Badiashile is a little bit better of a player. I just think his time with Chelsea is done. So those are my first two definite sells. My next definite answer is I think we should loan Sarr out. Mamadou Sarr. He got, 4 games at Chelsea last season after we recalled him from loan. Silly. In my opinion, yeah, all the center backs were pretty mediocre to bad last season. But you bring him in from his, his loan at Strasbourg, and you just don't play him. It's such a stupid thing. Loan him out. Let him get that actual experience back and see where we're at when he's a little older. These next 3 names are the toughest for me. I really, here's how I feel. I like Chalobah more than I like Fofana, just because Chalobah's been such a team player, good for the squad. But I do think he's not as talented as Fofana, and there is a world in which Chelsea do potentially play a 3 at the back where, you have your wing backs that kind of fold in, sometimes highest player on the pitch. And with that, I do think that Fofana might be a little better suited for that. So therefore, I think we should keep Fofana. I think he's a better player. I think some of his, mistakes that you kind of see from game to game can kind of be reduced under that 3-back. And I think we just got to not cut our loss, but, part ways with Chalobah, even though he is honestly one of my favorite players at the club. It's just time. I think he needs, he needs to go back to one of those middle level, even though we finished in 10th, can't really be saying that. But, average side in the Premier League, play game in, game out, where his quality matches his team more appropriately. And that's where we get to my hardest pill to swallow. I think we're going to end up keeping Tosin just because he's such a cheap player and everyone likes him. This name would be the first one to sell. If I were to go off my gut here, I would throw him into sell as well. But the players like him at the club. He can be 5th choice center back, and he can play 1 game a season. Have him for the vibes, have him for the laughs in the locker room, and go with it with that. And that's all it needs to be. Don't put him on the field. Have him in the training ground. Have your fun with them, but please don't play him. And it's strictly there for depth. 6th choice center back for all I care. Now, if Chelsea play a 3 at the back, like I said, don't touch the field. But that's 2 center backs. We will need to sign a center back. In my opinion, the spots where Chelsea's going to have to sign a player, at least a goalkeeper, maybe 2. A center back, I think we have to sign a left back. We have to get a center mid in. And then, depending on, formations, I would like to get a winger, so that's 6 players, and potentially a 7th being a striker. But other than that, I don't think we need too much. I think we just need a mindset and tactical change and a few key positions. Center back and center midfield are the spots I'd like to spend the most money over the summer. We'll probably end up spending a lot on a left back, hopefully not a winger, but we'll go from there. If we do end up playing a 3 at the back formation, we may want to reconsider loaning out Sarr and having him be rotational, give him game time, start a few games, definitely come in as a sub in a few games if we play 3 at the back. But for now, I'll keep Sarr in the loan category just based on last season. We'll throw Anselmi. How do you pronounce it? Anselmino? Sorry, guys. Pronunciate. Loan. I know he's a young player. And then we'll stick with it like that. Now, here are 2 players that I think we have to keep at the squad, or in the squad on the team. Hato, honestly, for me, could start. In my dream scenario, our defense looks like left center back, Drell Hato, center back, Levi Colwill. Hato can play that position fine. If one of the, wing backs, if we're playing a 3 at the back or 5 at the back, whichever way you want to look at it, one of the wing backs goes up flying, let's say it's, right wing back. I trust, Hato in the middle as a center back. If his left wing back partner flies up the side, I trust him at left back in that 4 shape. So I would love to have him start. I'd love to have Cole in the middle. His ball distribution is just amazing. And I would love to have a new signing in that right center back spot with, Sar as like a rotational piece, as well as Josh Archimpong back there as a rotational piece. He needs more minutes. I think he can play that right center back role very well. That's preferably where I would have him. If we do end up playing a 4 at the back, I could see it being a loan option, but I really think that we can find time and space for him in this squad, and I'd love to keep him. I think he's just a class player. Next, we'll move on. Malo Gusto. I think we should keep him. He's good for that, right back role. There is a world where, Alonso could play James at right center back, and, based on how fluid the formation is, Gusto, if we're playing kind of defensively, I can see like our left back, more defensive side of like typical left back, Cucurella in this case, and, Gusto or James being on the right side. But if James is in that center back role, Gusto can play that defensive right wing back role really well. If we decide to, maybe go a little more attacking, maybe wingers there. But I think Gusto just plays a good role at the squad. We got to keep him. Skipping down, this one hurts, but we have to sell Cucurella. I would love to keep him, but based on all the rumors, his move away from the club is looming. It's gonna happen. Let's just cut our losses as it is. And, I see these new signings listed down here. Kind of silly for this because I can just talk about it, but we'll throw them in just because. No, this is keep, loan, sell. We're not throwing in the new signings. You know where we need them. If we're selling Cucurella, we need to sign one. I would love to have Hall back at the club, and I think that's kind of the direction we're gonna go in. So that's kind of how I see the squad with Hall, Haddo, Colwill, new signing on the right center back. You have Fofana in there, Archimpong as a sub. We'll find spots, we'll find playing time, we'll find rotations. You got Reece James, you got Gusto, and I think that's a perfect defensive lineup. So keep Gusto. Obviously keep Reece James. Favorite player at the club. You can't probably the best performing player while he's fit at the club, of the last season. So definitely keeping him. Quenda, as we move on, more left-sided, left winger, left wing back. Definitely keep. I think he's going to fit Alonso's system really well. I'm really looking forward to see how he plays. I think he's going to be a great option, even at left wing. If we play 4 at the back, if we play 5 at the back, I think he'll be a great wing back. So really looking forward to that. Have to keep him. This is an interesting one with Sogo. I think we should loan him out. I don't see where the minutes are going to come, especially with what we have here and what we need to bring in, especially when I'm just going to skip to it right now if I can find him on this list. He's really hiding, or I'm really blind. There he is. Enzo is going to be a sell. That move, along with Cucurella, really hurts because they've been some of our better performers over the past couple years. I know Cucurella kind of dipped off, but I do think Enzo's going to go. We have to be realistic here. Get the money for Enzo. We're going to have to get a replacement. My replacements that I'm kind of feeling, I'd be, like, if we could get Bruno G, that'd be amazing. That's top of the list. After that, I really think if he's going to go to Real Madrid, there's a great chance that you can just, I've been seeing a lot of rumors of Arda Güler in that deal. I think we have too many players in the position that he plays. Why not try to throw, Enzo for Tchouaméni and 30 million, 40 million, something along those lines. Get that done. You can play this next player, Caicedo, who's obviously a keep, alongside Tchouaméni or Bruno G, and you have a perfect, 6-6, 8 there. Alex Scott's name's also been thrown around. We need a new, secondary center mid, and I think any of those three would be great, but those positions are going to be solidified by a new signing in Caicedo. I do fear Fernandez is gone, which does suck, but we have to move on. Here's another one. Romeo Lavia. He's got to go. He's such a good player. Can't stay fit. I think it's one of those situations where his time at the club just he needs to be apart from the club. We need to move on. No hard feelings, hopefully, from either side, and hopefully he gets a nice fresh start and we can, move on from the Lavia era and pick up, where, pick up the pieces from there. Also from there, I think that we have to keep Andrew Santos. I think he'll be that perfect fill-in role. New signing Caicedo, when they need rotation, Santos played great this season. I think that's a great, backup, a great substitution. He can come on, change a game. Got to keep Santos. What do we got next? Moving on. I think we should loan out Kellyman. I've seen some stuff about this kid. Just another potential thing to kind of look for. Loan out Kellyman. Let's see if I've skipped over, because I've kind of moved over a few. And I'm not going to pretend like I'm too tapped into the youth squad, but if I've heard a name, I think we could easily, I could throw him in the loan and it'll all work out. Next up, guys, I think we just signed. I can't quite remember what nationality he is. I think he's gonna get a loan and probably be there next season with the squad, but I'm fairly certain great talent there. Obviously, moving on, we have to keep Palmer. Hopefully, he plays that. We'll play the 10 role in a 4 at the back like he does. But I really think my favorite aspect of this potential season is I would love for Alonso to play 5 at the back. I would love. You already heard the defense. You already heard the 2 center mids. And, wingbacks / fullbacks, depending on how we want to play the game. The most intriguing part is that, those 3 leftover players, those 3 attacking players. And my personal preference for those players would be 2 strikers plus Palmer at the 10, where they can kind of move, pretty fluidly. I'll give you my opinion on who those strikers should be later on, but I think you have the perfect players with, Cole Palmer, João Pedro in some of those positions where, sometimes if Palmer's flying up, Pedro can drop back in the 10. If, Pedro moves up or even moves down, you kind of have like a little diamond triangle there. I think that front line could be very fluid and very nice. Palmer's got to stay. Do not sell him. Let him rebound. Give him a real manager this season, and he won't be playing at the World Cup, so we won't have to worry about injuries over the summer. He should be fit. He should be completely rested. We should have, 2 years ago, last year, not this past season, Palmer back the start of next season. After that, I think we should give Derry a loan. I think it's time. He's seen some good stuff, heard some good stuff. It's a good loan candidate. And Tyreek George, this is where we get into the wingers. And the wingers are a mess. Complete mess. And I feel like the best way to kind of sort them is go through who we should sell first. Garnacho, he has to go. Not good enough. We tried for a season. I want to see him go. The next one, I know Mudrik's in here. He's not going to play. I'll throw him in the sell just because, no one's going to buy him, but we don't need him at the club anymore. That experiment's done. Sell him. This is where it gets interesting. I'm going to keep 2 players at the end. I'll give you a little hint. It's Tyreek George and Jamie Gittins. Obviously, have to keep Estevao. I think this pairing, I'll move these now because I see Gwenda more as an attacking wingback / winger. So I'm going to keep him more on the attacking side. But this is like my dream. If we're attacking, if we're playing a real 3 at the back where these players come back and defend, not the best idea. Preferably you have like a Gwenda mixed with a Gusto, or you have an Estevao on the right mixed with Lewis Hall, or if Cucurella stays, Cucurella. That's the goal. But I think they're going to play so good in that formation. And even if they do play as wingers, I still look forward to seeing them play. They're just exciting players. Moving on to someone who might be the most boring winger, Neto. Pedro Neto. I really don't like his game. I would love nothing more to put him in sell. But we have to keep him. He's a good rotation piece. You can bring him on. He'll work hard. It's a good, he's nowhere near what Madueke is. They're completely different players. But I compare it to that where he's good enough to play at the Premier League level. He's probably a starter on a team like Fulham, a 13th place to like an 8th place team. And, same with Madueke. Like Madueke shouldn't be starting for Arsenal. Neto shouldn't be starting for Chelsea. But they can perform well as substitutes, as replacements, as fresh legs. So good to have in the squad. And I think that's the same. You have a sub here. I think that's the same for Gittins. You have, if you play Neto on the right as, that backup attacking, you can kind of play both roles. Gittins is a winger, but I can kind of see him playing a little bit. Like, I feel like he can fill that mid role, give him some time. He and Gittins could be a loan, but I think give him a little more time at the club before we, start sending him out and calling him a failure. And I just like that depth there. Like, you signed him for $55 million, give him another season. Let him be the backup to Quenda, or at least fight for the position for Quenda. And, Esteval has his right wing role kind of sealed. Let Neto be that backup there, and then have good depth. Like I said, we're gonna need a left back. Haddo can be that backup left back with formation with like Colwill, Fofana, new signing right back, or right center back, something along those lines. Keep Gittins, keep Neto, and loan out Tyreek George. I like Tyreek George's game. I think give him one more season on loan, see if he can do it. If not, time to part ways with him. That's just how I see this season going for him and what we should do there. Now we're getting into something real interesting, and it's the strikers. We're going to loan out. If these all say striker, yeah, sorry. Let's get back to full screen. This will be a loan, new signing. I don't think we're going to get minutes. Same here, new signing. I think those are kind of the, give him the trial run on loan, see where that goes. I think it's time to sell Mark Guiu. Obviously, you brought him in last season, recalled him from loan, barely played him. He didn't really impress. What else are you going to do? I think it's time to just sell him. If you want, you can throw him into the loan category. I just think, it's kind of a cut-loss kind of thing, kind of situation. Trying to just read here. J.J. Morgan sounds a bit familiar. If he wants a loan, could potentially see that. But we're going to get into the real bread and butter here. Fofana, holy failure. Get out of the club. Same with Washington. Just these players aren't going to play at Chelsea. Why are they here? Why are they on loan? Trust some of these youth players. I would love to know these guys better. I would love to see them a little more. If we have such a good youth program, use the youth. Stop signing these players who aren't going to play and just take up space, take up money. Horrible signings. Next, obviously, keep João Pedro. If we're playing one striker, he's him. If we're playing two strikers, he's still him. Has to play. Best player, maybe him or James, best player last season. Got to keep him. Next, we're going to do Delap, and he's going to be a keep. I think give him another season, let his confidence build a little more. I don't like him. I think he's really bad. Up front, he's clunky. I don't think his shooting's that great. His link-up play is not great. He doesn't do much very good. He's out there. He's kind of playing off, not anger, but like it almost feels like confusion, like a little, frustration is how he plays out there. When I look at the screen and see him play, I feel frustration, but it looks like he's frustrated out there because he can't do what he needs to do to stay in the squad and be good enough, and it just like you can see it builds up in him, and then he just does a stupid foul, gets a yellow. That's Delap for you. He cannot start, and if you want to make him third choice striker, that is fine. You might be able to sell him, get some money. That would be cool too. Like any of these three positions, I'm okay with Delap going. If that means if Delap is sold or loaned, maybe bring in one of these players for third choice, striker. That's fine. If we sell Delap, I will be perfectly fine with that. If he stays at the club and plays next season, I hope it's coming off the bench. Rarely. But that brings me to Nicholas Jackson, and I want him in. I know it's tough because, he misses all these chances. He still puts up numbers, misses chances. Frustrating player, kind of like a polarizing character. I think pair him up with Palmer again. He's the key to Palmer, so unlock Palmer again and put him next to a player in a double striker formation. Like I said, 3 at the back, those wing backs. Caicedo, new signing, whether it's Bruno G, Alex Scott, Tchouaméni, someone along those lines are my 3 choices. Have Palmer behind him and move fluidly because João Pedro can fall back, create link-up play, can play a ball in. Palmer can do the same thing, kind of act like a pseudo-striker in a way, but also a creator. And I think Jackson can do the same thing. You play all 3 of those players, you basically have 3 strikers and 3 attacking midfielders on the field at the same time. I really think as well you put Jackson next to a striker, and I think that takes pressure away from him. I think it can boost his assist levels, and I think it might create more chances for him too, especially when he's not at the quality of the other striker. Obviously, João Pedro's his stocks are skyrocketing. And when you put Jackson next to him, I think that can only benefit Jackson. So I'm really looking forward to that formation. Now, we're going to get to the season and we're going to play forward back all season. And, it's going to make me look like a fucking idiot. But I still think in my heart of hearts that works out. So I'd keep Jackson. Squad's real thin. Obviously, like I said, we need 2 keepers, so that fills it out a little more. Need another center back. Fills it out even more. Maybe keep one of these center backs here. Center mid looking a little rough, having only, 2 in the squad plus Palmer, not really having a backup to Palmer. Maybe in that case maybe keep Paez in the squad as, Palmer backup, even though I think you can kind of fit Esteval in there or Neto in there if you have to. Maybe drop João Pedro in there and play like João Pedro there, Delap, Jackson, even though that's really scary having 3 strikers on the field. But, have something like that. You can always move Sarr back up. I just don't want too many center backs in here because we need another center back signing. And I think Sarr could use a loan. Maybe you keep Isogo, but I just worry that him being 4th choice center mid, might not be the best for his career at this point. Maybe you rely on youth if you have to, make double sub there, so you bring in a center mid from the U squad. But 4th choice center mid for Isogo, I don't think that's going to be what Alonso or myself want to really go with. Tarek George, I don't think there's room. But yeah, need 2 goalkeepers, need a center back, need a center mid, need a left back. That's 5 signings right there to fill out the squad. I think if Delap goes, maybe bring in another striker, and I think we could use another winger, 5th choice winger. I don't think that's going to be Tarek George. And yeah, I don't think I missed any. I'll go back through. But honestly, I think that will completely round out my Chelsea keep, loan, sell for the 2026-27 season. We'll see how this works out over the summer. If you got any thoughts, leave them in the comments. And thanks for watching.